Before AI search came along, building a successful SEO content strategy was relatively straightforward. You target the right keywords, you create high EEAT content, we'll come back to that in a minute, you rank on page 1 of Google, and you watch the traffic come rolling in. Your goal was to beat competitors in the search results, get more traffic on your website, and sell as much stuff as possible. But now users are searching differently. Rather than going straight to Google and a traditional search, they're asking questions to ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini. Even when they do go to Google, increasingly they're getting an AI answer. And rather than giving a single web page, AI-generated answers pull from multiple sources and turn it into a single concise answer. But this means getting people to buy your stuff is no longer about just ranking first. It's about making sure that these AI answers are pulling their content from your website and recommending your brand. And a large part of that comes down to your content strategy, i.e., what content are you publishing on your website and is it being pulled through into these AI answers? So today I'm going to show you the tried and tested 4 pillars of getting cited by AI search, getting your website content into the answers that these AI tools are providing. And I'm going to show you a very cool new tool from Ahrefs called Agent, which is an agentic AI tool that makes this much faster and easier. So thanks to Ahrefs for sponsoring this video. Okay, so Tim, if I just want to get cited in AI answers, can't I just do traditional SEO? No, and here is why. This study from Ahrefs found that only 12% of AI cited web pages, so the pages that are mentioned in AI answers, actually rank in the top 10 positions on Google for that phrase. Or the other way of looking at this, 88% of the pages cited in AI answers are outside of the first page of Google. Meaning you can be doing really good SEO, getting ranked at the top of Google. It doesn't necessarily mean that your content is going to be cited by AI tools. So yes, you still need SEO, and yes, it's incredibly important. Yes, Google traditional search is still a fantastic driver of traffic. But if you want to win in this new game, you need some additional firepower. AI likes to see 4 things: the right topics, the right content structure, the right authority signals, and the right freshness. So those 4 pillars are what we're going to look at today. I'm going to show you some examples, and we're going to test drive Agent A to see how much of this stuff it can do for us. Okay, let's start with pillar 1 then, the right topics. We need to be publishing about the right topics if we're going to get cited in AI responses. Sounds obvious, but how do we know what people are searching in AI tools for? Because they're using ChatGPT in a very different way to how they're using Google. Okay, so let's imagine that we are the CMO for the lease extension company, and our goal is to get our business featured in more AI answers so that people can buy our service to help extend their leases. But how do we know what people are searching for in ChatGPT? Because people probably aren't going lease extension company. That might be how they typed in Google, but that's not the sort of conversation they're having inside ChatGPT. And there's the problem, because if we're optimizing for Google, we might just write content that's talking about lease extension company to try and rank for that keyword. But if we're trying to optimize for ChatGPT, we need to mirror our topics around the sorts of things that people are actually asking it. Someone might be asking, for example, how does a commercial lease extension work and what does it cost? Which is a completely different format, length, and intent. So we need to make sure the content we're producing works for that type of query. So, can Agent A help us? Well, let's go and take a look at the interface and see how it all works. So when you open Agent A, this is what you've got. You've got this kind of chat interface, which feels pretty familiar to a lot of AI tools. Now, you can integrate different apps. You can integrate your Notion, your HubSpot, so you can pull data from across your platforms. You can obviously chat to it here and you can have a conversation, and you can choose from different frontier models. So if you want to work with Claude Opus, you can. If you prefer OpenAI's models, you can. If you don't understand any of that stuff, don't worry, just leave it and it will choose the best one for you. But there are 2 main differences between, say, Agent A and just using ChatGPT for that stuff. First is the data. So Agent A sits on top of Ahrefs' existing data, and there is a serious amount of it. Ahrefs has analyzed 19.9 billion pages, 95 trillion live backlinks. They filtered 28.7 billion keywords, analyzed 376 million AI prompts. You get it. Now, of course, OpenAI also indexes loads of pages and reads the internet, but Ahrefs does this from an SEO perspective, so Agent A has a lot more SEO specific data to draw from. And by the way, if you're watching this and your goal is generate more leads and sales from your website, then perfect. I've got pretty much the most useful thing that you can do in the next 12 months, and that is to request a free digital marketing review from the team at Exposure Ninja. This digital marketing review is awesome. One of our experienced humans with access to loads and loads of tools, including stuff like Ahrefs, is going to go through your website and your competitors. They'll identify where the top opportunities are to improve your visibility in search, in AI search, get your website converting more of the traffic that's already landing on it, and use tools like email marketing to monetize your existing leads and customers even better. They'll prioritize all of the things that they identify across all of these different channels into a 12-month action plan that you can implement to improve the number of leads and sales that your website generates. This service is completely free of charge, but not everybody is eligible, so you do need to apply for this, and to do that you head over to exposureninja.com/review. You will not regret this. We get frequently told it is the most useful thing that marketing teams do that year, and it is completely free. So go and check it out at exposureninja.com/review. The second big difference between, say, ChatGPT and Agent A is that Agent A also has some specific skills. So think of these as like training to do certain SEO specific tasks. If we head over to the skills section, for example, we will see a skill that is SEO to AI query converter. Now remember, our job here for the lease extension company is we need to figure out what people are searching for or what people are asking ChatGPT so that we can create content that answers those questions and gets cited. Well, this SEO to AI query converter could be perfect for that. So let's launch it and see how it works. So as these tools spin up, they'll ask you some clarifying questions. You answer those questions and it then gets to work doing this stuff for you. So this tool is going to turn SEO keywords into AI search queries. How do we provide the SEO keywords? Well, we can either type them in, upload a file, or we can just get the tool to pull them from Ahrefs since it sits on top of all our Ahrefs data. I'm going to do that. It asks us whether we want branded, non-branded, or both. I'm going to choose both. And which market we're going to target. I'm going to go UK. It's now going to get to work pulling those keywords, analyzing them against all of the AI search queries that it's indexing and matching them up. This is going to take a while. So if you've ever seen Blue Peter, here's one that we prepared earlier. So this now sits in your tools section, and it's a tool that you can keep going back to. It's kind of like a dashboard that Agent A has built for you to show you this information. So we can see 46 keywords with almost 13,000 monthly search volume in the UK, and current monthly traffic only 30. We've got the original keywords down here that the site is ranking for, and then we've got the equivalent AI search query. So now we have these AI search queries that we can go and build content around because they are the type of plain language question that people are asking these AI tools. So we've identified the topics that we need to be writing and publishing about. Now it's time to actually create that content and structure it in a way that these AI tools like to see. So how do we do that? Most marketers have been taught to write for humans when they're producing their content, and that is pretty good advice because most of the entities that visit our website have been human. But increasingly, the traffic that's landing on our website isn't just human, it's also AI, and AI has its own needs. We found that if you want to write for extraction, i.e. you want to write to optimize the chances that AI is going to extract passages from your content, you need clear heading hierarchy, direct answers near the top of the page, short, clear paragraphs. AI really likes lists and tables, and ideally some FAQs. And by the way, we actually produced this blog post template that you can get from the Exposure Ninja website, link in the description. It's also a good idea to implement structured data. Just to be clear, that implementing schema isn't going to immediately get all of your content slammed into ChatGPT answers all the time, but doing anything that you can to help machines read your content in a more structured way is not going to hurt. And one business we've done this for a lot is actually one of our own companies, Pyramid Eco. Now, Pyramid Eco does something called retrofit, which is basically improving homes' energy efficiency. It's a pretty competitive market, and when we invested in the business, their marketing wasn't super great. We restructured the website, published lots of content, and of course, optimized it for AI search, and it works. If you search best retrofit companies London, you will typically get Pyramid Eco recommended as one of the top ones, and the website being cited in the answer. And this has led to a 10x increase increase in search visibility. We've picked up more than 150 backlinks from top tier publications. The new website led to a 129% increase in conversion rate, and the website is now outranking major competitors that have been spending a lot more on marketing over the years, and even outranking some of the government's own pages targeting these topics. And by the way, if this whole topic of AI search visibility is important to your business and your marketing going forward, which it probably should be, then the team here at Exposure Ninja can do what's called an AI search audit for you. Now, this is actually a human-driven process. Yes, we use some AI tools, but our human experience team that has done this across dozens and dozens of websites in every imaginable market actually carries this out for you. And here's what's included. We look at things like your current performance. We do a deep dive analysis on how your brand is actually appearing inside AI-generated answers. We build you out a prompts library. These are the phrases that you might want to track. We look at prompt sentiment and visibility. So how are these AI tools describing your brand? Favorably, unfavorably? What are the challenges that they have understanding you? We identify some publications that you might want to get cited in, etc., etc. This is a paid service, but it is genuinely awesome, and it can give you a strategy that you, your team, or an agency can follow over the next 12 months. If you're interested in this, just search Exposure Ninja AI Search Audit or click the link in the description and we'll get you sorted. Okay, so you've got your topics that you're targeting and you've got the structure of your content that you're going to be publishing. The next pillar to focus on is the authority, because AI tools don't just look at what content says, they look at whether you're credible and trustworthy. Now, there's a couple of different ways of doing this. There's like proprietary data and first-hand experience, and then there's third-party stuff. Just taking the proprietary data and first-hand experience, again, let me show an example. If you search best MVHR installers, you'll notice that the AI overviews are recommending Elite Renewables, which is another business that we own. And the top recommended link here is Elite Renewables. You'll see this is an incredibly detailed post, yes, but you'll see it also includes first-party data, in this case, customer service data. This makes this post more credible in Google's eyes and in the eyes of the AI tools, because this is clearly a business that has a unique perspective and is worth citing. But the other way of boosting your authority is by getting seen on other platforms, on other people's websites, basically. If lots of other people are talking about you, then you're probably pretty cool and pretty authoritative. The best way to do this is through digital PR, i.e. getting featured in high authority websites like news sites with your hot takes on topics of the day or your original data. But it's not always easy to work out whether this stuff that you're doing is actually hitting the right notes. Like, is this digital PR that you're doing actually making a difference? Is publishing this first-party data really good enough? Does your website scream authority or amateur? But this is another area that Agent A can help us. If we go back to our skills section, we'll see this skill here, brand authority and EEAT audit. Now, EEAT, quick 10-second primer: expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trust. These are like Google's metrics for trustworthiness. So experience, have you actually done what you're talking about before? Expertise, do you know what you're talking about? Authoritativeness, are you the go-to voice on this topic? And then trust is like the combination of all the other things. So we can launch this brand authority and EEAT audit, and it's going to pull from our own website and the Ahrefs data. So just as before we start this skill, it's going to ask us some clarifying questions, and then I'm going to show you the output from all of this. And when you're doing this, you can compare your results against competitors. I'm not going to do it on this case. We can choose to have a summary in the chat results, or we can have a separate report, like an engaging, clickable model thing that we can play with, or a downloadable PDF if you want to take it to someone else. I'm going to go for the console report, and it's going to get stuck into this. Again, it's going to take a bit of time, maybe up to 20 minutes. So here's another one that we made earlier. So this is the EEAT audit for Octopus Energy, which is an energy company in the UK. We get this overall EEAT score, we get a rating, all of this information being pulled from that Ahrefs data, and we get a TLDR summary. Now you can see this is pulled from loads of places, right? It's pulled from Trustpilot, looking at the number of reviews. We've got our domain rating. It's given us some of the publications this business has been seen at, and it's also given us the gap, the problems with the page on site. It's then broken this score down into pillars, and it's showing us where we need to improve. We can click on any of these to get more insight. It's even found that Octopus Energy might be subject to a bit of a link attack. We've got Telegram, SEO anomaly, we've got a bit of spam being directed at this site, which is going to recommend that we disavow. If we go down to the bottom, we then get our prioritized next steps. These are the things to improve to boost our EEAT, the perceived trustworthiness of our website. And by the way, if you want to try out Agent A, you can go to ahrefs.com/agent-A or click the link in the description. It's pretty cool. Okay, our fourth and final pillar, if we want to increase the number of times these AI tools are citing our content, is freshness. AI tools, as a rule, like to pull from more recent information. They want to give their users the most up-to-date stuff. There's no point fishing out some old-fashioned stuff that's all out of date and a bit wrong. And Ahrefs actually put together a study, which ironically probably needs a bit of freshening up, but their key takeaways is that the average age of URLs cited by AI assistants is 1,064 days, which is pretty old, right? But not compared to regular organic SERPs. Regular organic search results, the average age is 1,432 days. So AI tools on average prefer content that is 25.7% fresher. Now, does this mean that all of your content needs to be published like every day and republished and refreshed? No, of course not. But generally speaking, the fresher your content is, the more likely it is to be picked up in AI results. And to be honest, it doesn't hurt with regular SEO either. Now, guess what? Agent A can help us with this as well. Check out this skill, AI citation freshness audit. Let's give that a launch and see how it goes. So what this is going to do is look at the content that's being cited in AI answers, which is maybe getting a little bit stale, and it's going to let you know which pages you need to go and update. If you've got a lot of content published on your site, this could save you a ton of time from having to go through all this content manually and check, is it actually worth doing? Is it being pulled through? If it is, how out of date is it? This does both of those things in one while you do some other stuff. So again, we need to answer some questions and then we're going to leave it to get stuck in. Now, I want it to pull every page cited from the domain, and we're going to use all of the AI systems, which include Google AI Overviews, Google AI Mode, ChatGPT Perplexity, Google Gemini, and Copilot. Off we go. Let's go. And here's one that we prepared earlier. So this is what you get in your tools section. Now you can see this is actually an interactive tool. You can change the threshold at which you consider content outdated. So if you go to, for example, 3 months, you can see that more of this website's content is outdated. If we expand that out to 36 months, none of the content is outdated. I'm going to leave it at 12 months. So I think that's a good balance. So we've got 56 pieces of outdated content. 54% of all of the content that's in this study is now outdated. So that means we've got a bit of work to do. You can see the breakdown per platform, and actually it's not uncommon to find that Perplexity in particular does prefer fresher content. And then we can see down the list here the stuff that is outdated. We can see when it was last updated, if it was updated on the same day as lots of other content, i.e. indicating that there was a bulk update on that day, and we get this little handy outdated tag. So this basically gives you your to-do list for your content refresh, right? You just go and pull all of the pieces that are outdated. We know that they're being cited, so it's worth doing, and you just go through and check to see if these pages need an update, need a bit of a tweak, need a bit of a spring clean, and then of course you get that updated on date, which indicates freshness. So there you have it, the 4 things that AI needs before it's going to cite you. You need to be covering the right topics, you need your content structured in the right way, you need the right authority, i.e. giving AI a reason to trust you specifically, and then you need to make sure that content is as fresh as possible. So what do we think of Agent A? Well, I think it is a step up from using a standard AI tool like ChatGPT to do this work. The fact that it has all that Ahrefs data behind it means that it's less likely to hallucinate on things like keyword search visibility. If you ask ChatGPT how many people are searching for this keyword, or which keyword should I target for my website, it's going to give you its best guess, but that's not necessarily backed up by data. And what you don't want to do is then go through and optimize your entire website without any sort of grounding in data just because ChatGPT told you that that would be a good keyword for. And add in the pre-built skills, and I think it becomes a really useful sort of co-pilot to give you more insight into some of the most common SEO tasks. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, see you soon.